with Zafar Saab yesterday that I have roughly put up around 100 panels in the last 5-7 years. And this was the most difficult to put up as a panel. Really struggling to find people, those who understand digital and who do understand at the same time currencies as well, and willing to come forward. That was the third key point. But thanks to distinguished panel, we will be inviting one by one for the comments. But let me begin by thanking you on behalf of Sustainable Development Policy Institute to join us today. And as we have a Juma prayer as well, so I'll be very quick and brief. So let me invite Dr. Abid Qayyum Salari, Executive Director, Sustainable Development Policy Institute, Board Chair NDMRF, for welcome remarks, sir. Over to you. मुझे बताया गया कि अगर आपने फ्रेम से ही लेना है तो you have to speak from there. So you can turn your mic on and you can speak from there. कुछ लोग जो पीछे बैठे हैं अगर वो अगली सीट्स पे आ जाएं ताकि पीछे वाले वहां पे आके बैठ जाएं, तो if you can come please the next front seats जी.
दोबारा निकाह पढ़ो, ठीक नहीं सी रिकॉर्ड हो गया, फ्रेम सही नहीं सेगा. मैं क्या टेक मैं तो पढ़ लांगा, बकुड़ी भी चेंज करो सब.
जी वकार आजी आगे जगह है प्लीज. जी good morning ladies and gentlemen. So we are in the second last sessions of the 4 days annual conference. The closing plenary will start at 2:30, but in this of course the topic is of extreme importance. It's on last day, but it doesn't mean that it is of any least important. And it is all about digital currencies in Pakistan, making sense of policy position, consequences, and future trajectory. Now, off the cuff, one can say that making sense of most of the policy positions in developing countries, not only in Pakistan, is an extremely difficult job. But making sense of this virtual currencies policy in Pakistan, it's slightly challenging, and it's challenging because there is this dual transformation, and there is this dual position at State Bank of Pakistan. Central bank at one hand, it actually prohibits a financial institution from dealing in cryptocurrencies, yet it simultaneously is exploring the launch of this central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. And then we have also a national crypto council as well. And these things, they are basically for any student of finance, for any student of international relation, especially who want to de-link or de-risk with some of the main currencies basket. They keep on asking about the future of crypto, and can it give us some way forward. There is another aspect to it, and that is more on cyber protection and cyber security, how safe it is for this cryptocurrency to be used, how to safeguard from different scams that may happen. You might have been reading in the papers only yesterday. There was in Senate 3 honorable senators. They had been conned online, and they had actually summoned this cyber crime control authorities. Then there is the whole question about data mining and crypto mining. Do we have enough energy and enough water to mine our coins? And then on top of it, of course, the promising side is that United States is taking, the current administration is taking keen interest in digital currencies, and Pakistan fortunately happens to be on the side of current administration, whereby we can explore this mining and use of cryptocurrencies. So on both sides, there are certain positives, there are certain negatives, and this is what we will be discussing. I am a nerd on this topic, but of course, we do have experts who will be educating us, and we are here to learn from them, especially Zafar Masood Saab, who's not only CEO of Bank of Punjab, but also chairman of Pakistan Banking Association, Bankers Association. So he will not only be talking from Bank of Punjab perspective, but also from the banking associations perspective, the level of preparedness, what needs to be done, and where this policy clarity needs to be required. And so are the other three experts that have joined us on the panel today. So looking forward to listen from you, sirs.
Sir, thank you. I think now you understand how complex is the landscape on digital currencies. And that is exactly what we are trying to debunk. How ready we are, what is the trajectory future that we see digital currencies in Pakistan, and what is the role of the particularly the non-public sector, the banking sector, the private sectors, and all this. And we have all the parties, I mean the key stakeholders here. But before I invite Dr. Zafar Masood Saab, yesterday, finance minister knew sort of the idea that we had this discussion today, and he had some remarks. So if I can ask my team to play some remarks from finance minister about today's session, and I'll be then inviting Zafar Saab for his presentation.
Mr. Lady Saab, first of all, thank you for the kind invitation. It's a real pleasure to be here. I think Zafar mentioned you are going to talk about AI and crypto, and I thought I'd just spend a minute on that in my role as the chairman of the Pakistan Crypto Council. That's the council, as you know, which was formed earlier this year based on the chain analysis and the number of citizens who are already participating in this activity. And from our perspective, it's certainly from a business perspective, we want to take it forward in the context of larger Web 3.0, blockchain, AI, and of course, crypto is a subset of that. Also, I think bringing it into a regulatory framework makes a lot of sense. So as you know, we have a virtual asset regulatory authority, which has come into being as an ordinance at the moment, and it's going through the Senate Finance Committee so that it can be passed through the Parliament as we go forward. And and that should then lead towards the licensing regimes, etc., as we go forward.
That was a quick comment, but we placed it that if we see the current position, and I'm sure our colleague from Central State Bank of Pakistan will be speaking more on it. In public, the understanding is that cryptos are not allowed. They are illegal at this point of time. But the finance minister's position is that we are going for it because this is a business case and we will be working on it. So that is the complexity that really we wanted to explore for a greater clarity. And if to my own knowledge, I think this is the first such public discussion on digital currencies in Pakistan. And that is the other introduction of Zafar Masood Saab, in addition to two introductions that already Dr. Sleri has given as a CEO, Bank of Punjab, President, Banking Association. I think one thing that we really associate with Zafar Saab is bringing innovative ideas and taking leads. The Bank of Punjab has really emerged in a banking sector as a thought leader to explore new venues. So when I discussed a couple of months back with Dr. Zafar Saab, so I thought let's bring another discussion and idea to the public and see where does it take us. So I'll invite now, please join me inviting Zafar Masood Saab for a keynote scene setting technical presentation. Over to you, Zafar Saab, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sajid. Thank you very much, Dr. Suleri. My compliments at the outset to SDPI for yet again putting across those topics which are not much talked about. And Dr. Sajid, you rightly pointed out that It's probably the first time it's been discussed in public. It's not just about this topic per se, but the culture of debate and moot is something which is disappearing in our culture, in our society. And I think the role that SDPI is playing, bringing forth all those topics, which I won't say controversial topics, but less discussed topics, is something which is a huge service on the part of SDPI. And my compliments to Dr. Seleri for always remaining ahead of the game and up the curve. Ladies and gentlemen, the digital currencies in Pakistan, there is a lot of misunderstanding. There's a lot of there are different thoughts about how, as Dr. Sajid also mentioned in his intro, there's not much clarity on how this whole piece has to fit into our overall scheme of things. And we are trying to today figure out how that story will fit in. And this is something which we cannot ignore. This is the future. This is the currency evolution. This is inclusion. This is resilience and institutional reform, which are all required to be done for the future preparation. Pakistan, as you know, is on the digital crossroads, and innovation, inclusion, and monetary sovereignty, with central bank digital currency and private, stable coins, is something which we need to debate and sort out. For Pakistan, the question is not about the technological feasibility; it's the institutional readiness to adopt for digital currencies. And therefore, to me, and I'm big on this, and I talk about it all the time, is all about empowerment of citizens without undermining our existing currency, which is Pak rupees. And this is what the ultimate objective of digital currency is. Just for you all to as a takeaway, please go and get your hands onto this book called Sovereign Individual. Very revealing book, and that will give you a good idea on how important this private currencies would be in going into the future. This book was published in 1995, and now it's in 2025. There are lots of things which have actually come true, what they had talked about earlier. Rather than, putting your head under the sand and saying, we don't have to deal with anything, frankly speaking, let's bring things forward. Let's talk about it. And let's learn from each other. Let me just put a disclaimer right at the outset. Dr. Sleri has been very kind to say that I'm a sort of an expert on this. I'm not an expert at all. I am learning from my colleagues. Faisal is here, Nofal is there, Imran is there. I'm learning from them. I'm learning from people like, Ali Khwaja. I don't know if he's online. I'm learning from Ali Khan, my own nephew, by the way, who is a crypto lawyer in London. These are all new ideas and new concepts, and we should not have any inhibitions of not learning about them. Today, Dr. Sajid, I would request that if we could have some time for at the end towards Q&A. I know we are tight on time. That will be very important for somebody like myself, for learning from you all. I'm not only going to learn from the panel here, but from you all. The questions that you will ask, we will then start searching for those questions to address these issues. These are all noble ideas, and this is the way it evolves and emerges, only through debate and moot. Let me just give you an executive overview of the digital currency here. Right now, Pakistan's policy posture need to be done more in terms of making it more coherent. I would not go to the extent of saying it's fragmented, but I think a better alignment is necessary. And the Virtual Assets Ordinance 2025 introduces a regulatory foundation already. You heard the finance minister talking about the crypto council. There are 100 million adults, unbanked, 60% of that adult population, and most of them are younger people. Unless we prepare ourselves to go to these people, we will miss out on this big opportunity into the future. However, there's a policy tension, and let's not take it in a negative stride. Policy tension is something which is actually very obvious in such situations where things are emerging and they're unclear and they're coming to forth. So there is absolutely no negativity here. It's just that policy tension has to be there. And then when we talk about it and arrive at some kind of conclusion on what needs to be done, I think that policy tension will be taken care of. It's on one hand, it's the innovation, inclusion, and remittances, and lower cost of financial flows, where the regulations are generally not perceived to be very supportive. But on the other hand, financial stability, monetary sovereignty, AML, CFT, and capital flight are the real issues, and we need to make sure that the regulatory environment is balanced enough to support both the sides of the coin. And we won't miss out on either one of them. And there's a big opportunity of window here. When we talk about crypto, people say that we could unlock something like $20 to $25 billion. However, the dormant resident held digital assets in regulated economy balance must be done. The strategic choice, however, is either to regulate and integrate or risk of losing control and innovation and capital flight offshore. Just to conclude on this slide, it's basically coherent phased digital currency strategy, Pakistan's fragmented crypto reality, engine for inclusion, transparency in capital formation, and this opportunity cost of inaction is steep. Regulatory silence effectively exports innovation and liquidity offshore, and we need to avoid that situation in all respects. Next slide. Let me just start out with the global context and trends. To understand Pakistan's situation, it's very important to first appreciate where the global digital currency status stands. So let me just start out with first talking about central bank digital currencies, which we all call it as CBDC. CBDC is expected to increase 2 times the utilization of it 2 times between now and 2030. Currently, it's somewhere around $100 million, and 92% of these flows are actually domestic in nature. And to my mind, CBDC is essentially driven towards this objective only, and we'll talk about it in detail a little later. Secondly, the stable coins, which are privately issued tokens, are pegged to traditional assets, and of course, the most favorite one is US dollar. Currently, it stands at $27.6 trillion and is expected to increase even further going into the future. But with the largest one of this 27.6 is actually $100 billion in US Treasury backing. This Genius Act, which Imran will talk about later, let me just share with you that this has not come through in vacuum. There is a reason behind it. And when you read the book, Sovereign Individual, you'll be able to appreciate what's going on. The biggest threat to, ladies and gentlemen, I'm making a big statement here, which I love to make big statements. In fact, that reminds me about the big statement I made yesterday. That, the threat to US dollar today, the sovereignty and the superpower aspect of United States of America is not from any other currency, but the cryptos. Therefore, the step towards sovereign stable coins and a step towards Genius Act. And that seems to be working as well. And I think it's a very, very smart move on the part of the US. The similar things have been done by the others also. I leave it for Imran to talk about it later. But for the time being, that the pattern emerging is no longer simply banning cryptos. It's actually co-opting digital innovation. The case in point is China's e-currency and India's pilot corridor. Dr. Saab, if you allow me to digress a bit from this topic to the topic we were talking about yesterday, before I forget, I missed that in my notes. We talked about yesterday on SARC, Climate Finance Bank. What I would like to propose to you, Dr. Saab, is that if SDPI could collaborate with PBA and with UNDP, we can actually tap into these SARC countries and then try and come up with the framework of setting up this bank. And we'll be very happy to work with you on this and take it forward. Sorry for the digression, ladies and gentlemen, but this was the thought from yesterday. मुझे चाय चाहिए काली, बगैर दूध बगैर चीनी. So the point here is that Pakistan's strategic imperative is to shape rules before they shape us. We cannot escape this reality, and we need to be prepared for it. Let's take things in our control rather than they driving us of what needs to be done in the future, which we may or may not like. The next slide is about understanding the currency spectrum, something which helped clear my own concerns, by the way, when I was working on this presentation. And I much appreciate Dr. Sajid for giving us this opportunity of presenting it to you and talking about this topic, because the kind of learning that I have had in preparing this presentation and about coming out with the possible roadmap for the future, I hope that, Dr. Saab, that will come handy for our policymakers too. Agli wali slides zara laga de. Who is controlling it? So for the digital currency, it varies from the different sorts of currencies, varies from different risks. Some are used loosely. The terminology is used loosely, but some has loose risk and controls. The others require more regulatory imperatives. And it depends on the design that you would like to follow for that currency. For example, in case of cryptocurrencies, it's a decentralized tokens. Example is Bitcoin. There's no central authority. It's actually done by the individual. And you have to trust that individual to understand whether you are willing to take that risk on that currency or not. It has to be value determined by market dynamics. It's purely market forces driven. The risk profile is highly volatile, and typical use case, by the way, is speculative and investment in nature. The second constituency to my mind is stablecoin. It's again privately issued, but nevertheless is backed by a fiat. Most popular one obviously is US dollar, but then we have yuan as well. And I think Pakistan is seriously considering about rupees stable coins too. The value basis is reserve management and regulatory, and it is a regulatory product. And the ideal use case, for example, are payments, remittances, and decentralized finance rails. CBDC is issued by the central bank. It's a sovereign fiat. It is a national currency, of course, with lower risk, used for domestic payments essentially, and promoting inclusion. To my mind, Essentially, it's the same currency when you talk about CBDC. It's only a shift, and I'm putting it in a very layman term. It's a shift from printed currency in coins or paper to in a digital form. And this explains in more detail in the next slide. Railroad exists, RAST is there, RTGS is there. The foundation potential for CBDC underlying are very much existent. However, the clarity on the financial inclusion and offshore piece is something we need to understand and appreciate. If I were to, in a very crude manner, define the two, CBDC is essentially moving away from the printed currency to a digital currency. Railroads exist. CBDC CBDC is the printed. The digital currency that we talk about, there is no new currency which has been created. It is the existing underlying fiat which is being used, whether it's CBDC or it's a printed cash. On the other hand, crypto, the primary difference between crypto and the first three stacks that are in front of you in the slide is actually that the crypto will be an alternate currency being printed by the individual and issued by the individual. And this is what is the real differences. Just to recap, and I think this slide is a very important slide for better understanding of the different currency stacks. Printed cash, the baseline store of value. Fully physical, informal transactions are promoted by virtue of which, and vulnerable to theft and counterfeiting. Cross-border, almost unusable. The second one is the digital banking and RAST. There is no currency being made here. It's merely an overlay, as I said. It's just a railroad which is supporting. SBP issued money is used for transportation here, merely for domestic digitization.
So we will have 5 more minutes for your presentation.
No.
5 to 7, sir.
नहीं डॉक्टर
We'll be running out. We have,
नहीं
I have to manage 9 speakers, sir.
कोई बात नहीं ये
So,
this is very
please.
important.
Yes,
नहीं,
yes,
जो-
but if you can summarize.
नहीं ये क्लेरिफाई हमें करना पड़ेगा
Go ahead.
डॉक्टर साहब
Go
बहुत
ahead,
सारी
please.
चीजें
Please.
तो मैं थोड़ा सा इस पे सॉरी मैं थोड़ा टाइम लूंगा बट ये बहुत जरूरी है बिकॉज डॉक्टर साहब ये अदरवाइज वो चीजें फॉल इन प्लेस नहीं करेंगी मैं कोशिश करूंगा जल्दी जल्दी चलूं
That's my point. Thank
point
you.
well taken. CBDC, as I said, it's basically a shift from printed to the digital side. Clear cut case of financial inclusion. जो आज अभी हम बात करेंगे आगे कि जिस तरह आर जो हमारी ग्रे इकोनॉमी है वो इतना बड़ा साइज है जो करेंसी इन सर्कुलेशन इतना बड़ा साइज है जो डॉक्टर साजिद का तो मेन सब्जेक्ट है हाउ विल दिस हेल्प इन curtailing it. The stable coins are the regulated one, and they're essentially required to attract the younger population and promoting the international remittances. The main message in this slide serves a different purpose altogether. All of them serves a different purpose altogether. Cash drives informal economy, digital banking, domestic payments, and cross-border speed and liquidity through stable coins. And therefore, we have to look at it, all of them in the same as complementing each other and not competing each other. I think the next slide, I will let Imran take a crack on it, and then we'll come back again on the economy side.
Assalamu alaikum.
Ji Imran, over to you, please.
Thank you so much, Zafar Saab. Imran Ashraf is my name. Just continuing from where Zafar Saab has painted the whole scenario. Stablecoin, all of us, we know that USDT or USDC are the main stable coins who are taking the market, and majority of the market share, about 98% of the market is right now predominated by USDT and USDC, which is the stable coin issued by the US. However, many other economies are also working on stable coins and are going to be also issuing theirs, and there are some pilots running. So I'm just in these two slides going to cover what are other countries doing in terms of the central bank digital currencies and the stable coins. So here we can see there are some pilots being run. There are about 70 countries who are already running pilots in this space. So some of them are key, which we can talk about quickly. Uh, e-China CNY, which is about 14 trillion yuan already transacted through this. So they have been working on this currency for a few years now, and they are introduced it in the market already as a pilot project. There are three categories of the money that they have uh, um, have issued: money zero, money one, and money two. So money zero is almost close to the paper money. It is very anonymous in nature. Only mobile number is required for creating it. The Central Bank of China writes the regulatory requirements. However, there are intermediary banks who issue this current currency for their users. Mainly, this is used for the operations and transactions. It is not used for interest and deposits. However, money 2 and money 3 is used for interest and deposits and also settlements. India is also running a similar project. They are issuing two types of central bank digital currencies, which is retail and wholesale. So retail is mainly what I talked about as money zero. It's a similar use case where they're going to issue the currency itself. We can skip that. Okay. All right, thank you. So basically, this is where we are showing that the pilots are running already, and many countries are seriously considering this. And a similar slide is for stable coins, where we can see apart from USDT, USDC. Yeah, this is. Yeah, we can go to the next slide, please. All right. So
Please ask next slide. Whenever you have a slide, ask next slide.
all right, I will do that.
Please.
So there are USDC and USDT is already major stablecoin market share is with them. However, other countries are also running their pilots. You can see Hong Kong, Singapore, and Japan, which we are putting in here. Otherwise, apart from these, China and many other countries are also bringing the stablecoin pilots. Main two use cases that they are going for is the real asset tokenization and the payment from crypto or digital assets to real world, and the inward remittances and cross-border settlements. So these are the use cases that they are working on, and some of them are already being implemented in the real world. And all of them are pilots, and they also want to be part of the market share. In the next slide, I can, so please take the slide.
Very quickly, because मुझे Dr. Sajid ने warn कर दिया, so I'm very conscious about this. In this slide, essentially what we are talking about is that, the virtual asset ordinance is in there. The virtual asset regulatory authority, PIVARA, is in existence. The coherence amongst SBP, SCP, Ministry of Finance, and FBR is still needs more to be done. And the next step is to have better coordination, not just the legislation at this point in time. Next slide. This is about the economic case of the currency. Now, frankly, I could have elaborated it in detail. All I would like to say is that Pakistan has huge, currency in circulation, 27% of the broad money, and that fuels, informal economy and everything. The result is that, although there is a dramatic shift towards digitalization, 88% of the retail transactions are now digitally done, but that's in the banking system. Most of the transactions are outside the banking system. And the mobile wallets and the QR transaction and the consistent double-digit growth is being witnessed. Cashless initiative, Cashless Pakistan initiative is something which will boost this whole effort, which is headed up by none other than the Prime Minister himself. I'm also happen to be part of that initiative, and we are most excited about it. That will help us in developing the necessary infrastructure and logical next step for digitizing the currency itself. Next slide, please. The risk and design imperatives. Sorry. Imran, you please cover these, and then I'll come to the
Yes, I will
end.
take these two slides. So here in this slide, we are showing two fintechs who are working on the use cases of stable coin. So one of them is Anchor X. So they have collaborated with Kazakhstan regulatory authority and issued a EX China stable coin. And using this stable coin, they have already implemented the remittance and the payment settlements between China and Kazakhstan. The larger project which they are working on is the BRI Belt and Route Initiative, and basically the 5 countries on that route will be using the China stable coin for settlement of their trade. Similarly, on the left side, you will see AgriDex. So this is another fintech who is working on um, a marketplace for agriculture, and this marketplace, the rails will be developed on blockchain, and the stable coin will be used mainly. Yeah, so stablecoin will be used mainly for improving the efficiency of of settlements between the countries. So and just to give you an idea, the efficiency will be the whole efficiency for their use case will be more than 40%. So for example, if today coffee is grown in a country like Nigeria, and from there it has to go to Europe for the processing, the whole process of supply chain will be digitized on blockchain, and there will be an efficiency of 40% demonstrated. So these two use cases are there, and we as BOP is also going to partner with them to do a few experiments on how to build these cases for Pakistan. And obviously for this we will be requesting State Bank to help us do this in their sandbox. Next, some of the quick wins. So we talked about inward remittance. We talked about some of the use cases of stablecoin and CBDC. So there are three quick use cases that we can look at for the starters. Inward remittance. So basically the same, picking up from the previous. Acha. So three use cases: inward remittance, wholesale settlement, and using the central bank digital currency to make government to person payments. So all three use cases are very interesting. They will increase the efficiency and control of these transactions, and the efficiency can be multiple times. For example, if a transaction takes 3-4 days, it can come into few minutes for that transaction. Similarly, the price will come down by number of 6 or 7 times. And for the government to person payment, there is a lot of control that you can include because of the blockchain technology underlying on it. In this slide, there are also two other use cases. Please, the next slide. Yeah, in this slide, we are talking about two other use cases. One is the real world asset tokenization. So what does it mean is that the big assets like big assets can be tokenized, and then it can be used for trading purposes by a smaller amount of money. So this creates a lot of interest and access for general public to do trading on these assets. Similarly, the other part is using the crypto assets and
इमरान
using
साहब,
payment
आप जितना ज्यादा टाइम लेंगे, you will taking time of Zafar साहब, so you have to go back to BOP as well.
चलें
So, so
चलें
you
फिर
have to go BOP, so don't take time of Zafar साहब. Sir, if you can and conclude in 3 minutes.
all right. So there are some other slides. There are some key questions which are answered here. Should I cover those also?
We will cover in a paper. We will be using your slides
Alright,
with you to make a policy paper and
So we
exactly.
so
Exactly.
let's
So
go to the
please.
risk design imperatives, please. These are the जी अगली पे चले जाएं. Next slides. Here.
Okay. So on this one, all I would like to say is that there are multiple risks that we need to capture here. To the
Mike.
policy, sorry. To the policy, we need to capture multiple risks, starting from monetary substitution, Pak rupee versus, inward remittances ka channel, weakening our own currency, the stability, financial stability piece, and I personally believe that the cryptos continue to be of restrictive use, and we should not allow them to be used openly. The name of the game is stable coins. Cyber security and operational risk, Dr. Saab, you've already talked about it. I won't get into the detail. Consumer protection is the key, which is driving from all of them. and legal and financial coherence is something which is must when we talk about going into the digital currencies in future. The principle is simple: move fast, but under control. Financial sovereignty depends on it, really. Next slide. The role of financial institutions, I again very briefly talk about it. On the opportunity side, the banks can be a custody and settlement operators. CBDC will act as a catalyst for our already digital offerings. Wholesale tokenization will be a big opportunity, especially in FX and trade side. And embedded finance infrastructure will help in promoting financial inclusion. On the constraint side, obviously, the regulatory ambiguity is there. Licensing bottlenecks need to be taken care of. And supervisory risk perception. You see, ladies and gentlemen, it's the larger issue, Dr. Saab, is about the perception and the negative perception attached to it. We need to move away from that negative perception and unpeel what the real risks are and then determine what needs to be done. But to my mind, all of this is a part of the process of evolution. We are getting there, coming along very fast, and we will get to that ultimate destination even faster, inshallah. Next slide. Going into the future, our recommendation, the crypto council is already in existence. It needs to be made perhaps more broad-based, more representation is necessary, Dr. Saab, there. Digital currency roadmap is necessary from 2026 to 2030. Two high visibility pilots are required, one for inward remittances, the other one for wholesale tokenization. Independent academic evaluation. Somebody like yourself, Dr. Saab, SDPA has to volunteer this, please. That, let's pick up 2 use cases and then you do the assessment of it. And leveraging our development partners. Binance is already very active in Pakistan. We need to have TA from UNDP and ADB to then take it forward. At the end of the day, it's only one of us, only one of these ensures sovereign, sovereignty and balance between the future opportunity. Last slide. It is not an either or situation to my mind. Let me just very briefly tell you. We have to pursue both. We have to pursue CBDC, Dr. Saab, because it has a domestic appeal and financial inclusion piece. We also do not lose the sight on the ball on the crypto, but on the crypto, perhaps we should start out with stablecoin and let's see how things will pan out. With stablecoin is a safer proposition to pursue, but both of them have to go in tandem, not one against the other. They are part and parcel of the same ecosystem, same digital requirement going into the future, Dr. Saab. Thank you very much for all your patience. My apologies for stretching it a little longer.
Sir, thank you. I think the point you made that there is the larger question is about the perceptions on digital currencies. To me, the larger question is also to manage now 9 panelists in 30 minutes. So let me go. But I think this presentation was much needed, given that this is the first public discussion, and we will continue to expand on. And I'm sure I was reading your very read and beautiful notes. My team will be coming to you that we can convert this into a policy note and share with the stakeholders. So let me begin the discussion with our colleague from State Bank of Pakistan, Mohammad Faisal Mazhar Saab, Senior Joint Director, State Bank of Pakistan. But more importantly, he is looking after this portfolio. Sir, you have seen the discussion. The bank is about to start pilot. That is the news in the market. Not sure true or not, but this is what the perception is on CBDC. So if you can just update slightly on what is the status on CBDC, and also if you can reflect on some other currencies, cryptos, how does the central bank sees? Because when it comes to currency, it is the central bank leading all the way. So over to you. If I'm sorry, I'll be testing your summary skills if in 3 to 4 minutes, first intervention, and they will be coming for the second intervention as well. Over to you, please.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, SGPI, for calling State Bank of Pakistan, and also like introducing this very important topic, the digital currency, for the public discussion. And I am also thankful to Zafar Saab for setting the pace and also the expectation and clarifying about the cryptocurrencies, about stablecoin, about CBDC, as well as about other such digital currencies. I would just give you a brief overview of what we have been doing at State Bank, and I would just start with the clarification of what central bank currency is. So the physical note lying in your pocket is actually the currency issued by State Bank, which is a physical form. And another form, which is also a central bank currency, is the reserves that are maintained with the RTGS in the State Bank. So these are the currently two accesses to the public as well as to the financial institutions in terms of central bank currency. And I think it's a very natural evolution, as also highlighted by Zafar Saab, that previously we were printing the physical currency, and now the natural evolution is that we are going to be basically it is going to be digital form. So this is, I think, very simple common sense evolution that we have. Regarding the evolution or what we have been doing on central bank digital currency, so we have been working on this central bank digital currency since 2022. And the question that we started with was, what's the point? Why do we need a central bank digital currency? Because as far as current mechanisms of payments are concerned, they are like pretty fast. So we have RTGS, a state-of-the-art RTGS system that we have been that was recently launched or upgraded back in June 2025. We have had RAST since 2021, and it is not just one thing that we have basically enabled through RAST. We have bulk payments, we have person-to-person payments, we have person-to-merchant payments. So effectively, mostly your efficient payment mechanisms are already there. And on top of it, we already have this one-link switch enabling payments through this basically payment infrastructure that we have. So the content, and we also engaged with the World Bank that basically briefed us about what CBDC is. They started with the capacity building program of State Bank officials. We also conducted a proof of concept with the World Bank, and we focused on two basically use cases. The first use case was pertaining to the cross-border payments, and the second one was pertaining to the social disbursements because of the I would say digital DLT-based technology that can enable faster payments. Similarly, we also worked with the IMF Technical Assistance Program, and they basically provided us support as what should be the next steps for central bank digital currency exploration. And the mechanism that they proposed to us was the 5P methodology, and it states that for uncertain projects like CBDC, we should be starting with maybe the preparation. It should be followed by the proof of concept. Then it should be prototyped. There should be a pilot, and then we should lead to production. So these are 5 steps that they propose to us. And especially because of the fact that we already have like a very well-developed payment mechanism in Pakistan. So we actually explored that what should be the use cases that we should focus on using CBDC. I would say the 2 use cases that we have identified, rather one, the challenge currently that is at hand and also highlighted by Zafar Saab was the high currency in circulation. It is, I think, 10 trillion plus. Similarly, we have not been able to facilitate offline payments. So if you talk about RAST, we are able to facilitate bulk payments for the government entities, for corporates. When it comes to instant payments, we are able to process payments in a span of less than 17 seconds. Similarly, merchant payments are also available in the same like RAST payment mechanism. But regarding the offline payments, we do not have this facility through RAST. So this is one basically use case that we are exploring. And we have been engaged with some CBDC solution providers. And there are actually, I would say, design choices that we have to basically identify whether it is going to be centralized or decentralized, because not all the central banks are exploring for DLT-based central bank solutions. Similarly, whether it is going to be remunerated or non-remunerated, and similarly, whether it is going to be centralized or decentralized. Another important aspect that we have identified while working with the vendor is that what should be the steps that we should be taking. For instance, we are done with the preparation and now we are focusing more on the POC. So I would say the pilot is not the next phase, as I think a number of I think you might have identified it like while discussing with a variety of people. It is going to be followed by a next step, which is prototype. So this is a brief overview that we have done so far on CBDC. Just one point I would like to identify that when central banks are exploring CBDC, everyone has some problem statement that they want to address. For instance, if you talk about China, they started with this ECNY with the perspective that 90% plus transactions are actually managed or basically routed through the private sector. So they had this view in case there is no private sector, so what is the recourse if the private sector is not available? And I think if you know, the pioneers in this central bank digital currency are, I would say, Sweden. They started working back in 2015, 16. And they also had the same problem that they had reduction in currency in circulation. So again, they had the perspective that what would they do if there is no private sector? So they wanted to have some backup plan. Another country you might know, which is Bahamas, they are one of the three countries that have deployed central bank digital currency. It is Nigeria, it is Bahamas, and third one is Jamaica. So Bahamas has had another problem statement. Their problem statement was that it is actually surrounded by a big number of islands, and if they have to distribute the currency, they have to print it, they have to distribute it across a number of big islands. So it was their problem statement. And they think that in case they deploy this central bank digital currency, it would be supporting them in reducing the cost. And I think same is true for us because it's a good cost that we are incurring when we have to basically print the currency, then we have to distribute it. And when it is not no more usable, we also have to destroy it. So in total, it incurs a good cost. So maybe we have to strike a balance as if we like basically deploy the CBDC, what is going to be the cost and what is going to be the implication if you have to like keep printing the money. So this is a brief overview of what we have done so far. Thank you.
Thank you, Faisal Saab. If you can just in one line or sentence touch on the what is the status of cryptos right now in Pakistan in terms of central bank?
So I think, as you mentioned in the speech that was done by Finance Minister Saab yesterday, so there are things that are work in progress. There are items, actually, Crypto Council, Pakistan Crypto Council is there. VARA is there, Virtual Asset Remittance Regulatory Authority is there. And I think there are stakeholders that are already working on it, like State Bank is there, SECP is there, and other number of other relevant stakeholders are working on this. So I think it's more like, I would say, infrastructure or regulation, which is currently work in progress. And with the passage of time, it is going to be basically materialized. And I would also like to highlight another perspective. As they say that Rome was not built in a day.
Yes.
I was previously working on RAS. So we started working on RAS back in 2016. But the first use case was deployed in 2021. It was followed by 2022 with the second use case, and the third use case was in 2023. So it was not a big bang approach. So we wanted I think deployment of a basically central system was the easy part. The challenging part was the adoption. The challenging part was to carry along the customers, the banking sector along with us. So I think this is the same pace which is going to be here, that maybe gradually we are going to be deploying this payment infrastructure, and an ecosystem is going to be developed gradually.
Thank you. Thank you. Very, very well taken. We are also joined by speakers online. So let me mix one person from here in person and the one from the online. So we are joined by Mr. Ali Farid Khwaja, Chief Executive Officer, Critical Metals. The expertise are global finance, digital asset markets, and the crypto regulation. So Ali Saab, as you have been hearing more, much more than us actually, you will be actually educating all of us when it comes to cryptos and all this. I just met yesterday a retired governor, central bank, And he said, don't talk about the cryptos. It's very uncertain, very volatile. We should avoid it. So that is the discussion in market. How do you see and what is your advice? And of course, do tell us what is the crypto actually. How does it work? But the challenge is 3 to 4 minutes. Over to you.
Thank you so much. I will be quick, and so don't worry about that. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's always difficult to speak after Zafar Saab because he has covered most of the important stuff, and I'm glad to be here. I've been working in this space since 2013. So just to give that in perspective, at that time, Bitcoin price was $80. That means two things. One is that I know a lot of billionaires who have made a lot of money in this space. And secondly, it also means that clearly I've been skeptical on it because if I wasn't, I would be sitting in some island somewhere joined by the billionaires. So I think that reveals my position on this. But nevertheless, I think the key point to understand here, and Dr. Soleri mentioned that when he mentioned, is that the reason why we are all talking about this topic and the reason why PVARA exists is not because suddenly we have realized that this is a great innovation. It's primarily because of the change in government in the US. We have to acknowledge, understand, and respect that because if we don't, then we'll be confused. Clearly, before President Trump, we didn't all suddenly appreciate the benefits of crypto, but now we do. Pakistan Crypto Council, if you remember, was announced the day Gregory Beach came to Pakistan. And similarly, the sons of President Trump are the keynote speakers at most of the events. And Steve Witkoff's son, who runs WLFI, is advisor to government of Pakistan on crypto. Clearly, we don't. President Trump's sons are not neither crypto experts, not technology experts, not financial services experts. So what I'm trying to say is that we must acknowledge that the reason why Pakistan and we and many other countries are now very supportive of crypto is because we want to be close to the US administration. If we acknowledge that, and I think Bilal has done a great job in achieving that success. So when people ask me that, how's our crypto policy? I've asked them that what is our objective? Clearly, we all know that our objective is to be close to the US. It's a very valid, very legitimate, and very good objective. And I think we have been very successful in it. That's why President Trump is saying 8-0 or 7-0 everywhere he goes. And it's manifesting itself in other areas like, engagement in critical metals and engagement in other areas. So I'm very glad that because of our efforts of our government and Bilal and the finance minister, we are on the right side, right corner of the room. And so what does that mean? That means that there's an opportunity for companies in Pakistan to raise money from US investors. There's a startup you might have read, ZAR, which just raised $14 million from US investors for Pakistan. $14 million is a lot of investment for a startup. So there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity for Pakistani businesses in other sectors, critical metals being one of them, to use this tailwind to get money from the US and to do business in Pakistan. But this also means other stuff. And I'll just mention three. I'm conscious of the time. The first is what happens when President Trump goes? Of course, his term is not long enough. A state bank has already mentioned there are 9 Ps they have to do. Clearly, the 9 Ps will take longer than the term of President Trump. So what happens when President Trump goes and we are still in the middle of the 9P? Secondly, ZAR, the company which I mentioned, when they raise money, their document says that Pakistani rupee is weak and it will be replaced by dollar stable coins and hence give us money to expand in Pakistan. So it's not hidden. Like President Trump has said that the reason why he wants stable coins to be used is because he wants to extend the control of it's an extension of the US dollar. So Howard, and that's why the governor of Bank of England here says that stablecoin or dollar stablecoin is a threat to sovereignty. And Dr. Zafar Masood Saab has mentioned a lot about the sovereignty, and I totally agree with him. And last point is that you mentioned about crypto. So right now, 50% of the top crypto coins are down more than 60%. More than 60%. Bitcoin is down 25% from its peak. Binance, which operates in Pakistan, which has millions of customers, primarily provides levered contracts. This means that most Pakistanis who would have invested in crypto on levered contracts would have lost all money. Zafar Saab will remember that last time when Pakistani stock market went down 30%, which was once in 2005, there were inquiry committees. Sultan Alana, who's now the chairman of Habib Bank, he headed the committee which did inquiry on why did the stock market go down by 30%. But here, crypto has gone down by 50% just over the last 2 months. How will Pakistan deal with that kind of volatility, especially if seen that the government or people in the government are supporting it? And last point, if we are emulating President Trump, which clearly we are inspired by him and we should be, he has also launched Trump coin and Millennia coin. And both of them are down quite considerably. In Pakistan, also, we have Khan coin. If you, some of you might not know that if you go on Uniswap, you'll be able to find a Khan coin. And like his namesake, the coin isn't doing really well. It's like down 95%, if not more. So would we also see Shabazz coin or something like that here? And what would be the implication of that? So those are just some of the questions which I had. Unfortunately, I don't have the answers. So 3 to 4 minutes was sufficient for this. Thank
We
you.
are equally unfortunate that we don't have answers too. But I think you brought a new dimension, that crypto as a diplomacy tool, the cryptic diplomacy, I think, if we can say. But we will be coming to you if we have time in the last 1 minute, that what should Pakistan do to deal these situation that you are mentioning. Any top two recommendations so you can prepare. I'll be coming to you if time permits, because we have a Juma as well. So if we do go late, all guna will be on us, the panelists, and most on the moderator. So let me go to now we are joined in person here by Mr. Zaid Munir, Chief Executive Officer. A very difficult name, like the blockchain, that we don't understand the name also. Settle Labs, if you can. Skytail Labs. So I think my team has got it all together. So if I think that remains the most least understood blockchain when it comes to. So if you can highlight and place this in discussion, how you see in the digital currencies landscape and blockchain there in there. Thank you.
Thank you for giving the mic, and it's a pleasure being here with all these people. And so first of all, I'll begin with the SkyTail. So it was the first device used for encryption back in the days. So it's a BC device they used by the war machine to send encrypted messages. So that's what the company is about. So very interesting discussion going on. Lots of things I've been taking on notes. So I've got, I can add a lot to all of the things, but just one thing, I'd like to add. So we have been talking about stablecoin as being 1:1. So there's thing we need to clarify. That is the redemption part. When we redeem them, we can do 1:1. But for most part, they're not backed 1 by 1. So when we talk about USDT, it's over collateralized and it's backed by few dollars, like it's less than 10%. Then it has got debt instruments, commercial paper, and others. So it's not always that. So when we talk about the discussion and policy, we need to have that aspect, that how do we manage the proofs of reserve of thing. Then we have been discussing about stablecoin versus CBDC. So we need to differentiate that as well. So CBDC comes in different flavors. So some would argue that the digital dirham that has been issued is a CBDC, but that's a decentralized coin, right? That's on the blockchain, versus China's ECNY, that's privately held and it's not decentralized. So there are both flavors that need to be considered. And then when we talk about diplomacy, sorry, I'm being like, time is short, so I'm summarizing a lot of things. So we talk about diplomacy. So there's one more thing that we need to be careful of. So there are different standards that interoperate and we need to integrate with. So one is that we have standards by the US, right? They have got their standards like NIST, FIPS, that we need if we want to interoperate with the US. Then we have got standards in the EU, which are mostly similar to the American standards. And then we have our partner, China, that is operating on an entirely different plane and has got its own standards. So from the diplomacy point of view, when we are doing pilots and prototypes, we need to consider that who are we trying to integrate with first of all, and how do we integrate in the larger picture. So there are different things that we can begin with. First up is the commonly accepted things like Swift, right? So we can integrate with that. That's a good start. But then there are the BRICS nations that are developing alternate standards that want to replace SWIFT. So that's something of a challenge, that when we want to actually go live with these things, what is our target market? Let's say two things. We have got internal market that we can do however we want, but you need to standardize that. I'll talk more about that later on. But from an international remittance point of view, so what standards are we following? Are we using the SwiftMT, SwiftMX? Are we integrating Swift, or are we integrating with the BRICS and the standard that they're pushing for? So we need to have readiness for that. And lots of other stuff I just mentioned over here. And there are a lot of things that I'd like to add from the technology point of view. We need to standardize, policy at a high level, but from a technology point of view as well. So we haven't heard much talk about how to actually implement the technology that we have, and how do we make sure that the vendors that are being onboarded, like in China, they have got the private China bank issuing the tokens, but there are vendors that are actually onboarding the clients and providing the wallet infrastructure. So what are the security measures that we want to have in place? How do we want to have them operated? What standards they'd be following, right? So having worked with the US standards quite heavily, I'm mostly inclined towards that. That's NIST. That's very comprehensive, very, very much updated. And then we have got the Bank of International Settlements, BIS, that has been doing a lot of good work in this regard. And we also saw Ambridge over there on the slides. That's something that's very interesting. And they have got ways to actually collaborate with them. So with Project Ambridge, we have got different banks, central banks actually on part of it.
Hello, hello.
Gents, has anyone else lost connection?
Yeah, that's right,
Yes,
James.
yes. I think it's the main conference room connection.
Correct.
Oh, that's a
Okay.
relief.
Maybe maybe this is our cue.
It's giving us I think it's giving us a subtle hint, isn't it?
So we can have a second panel here. Parallel panel. We can have a in-room panel.
It'll be funny if they can hear us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still showing as iconed in from my side. I don't know about yourselves. It just isn't coming through.
SDPI Pakistan logo still.
Mm.
You hear us? वहां से
Now
mic
we
से-
can hear you.
Yes. Yad, can you hear us? Yad, but
Yes, we can hear you.
so if you can please come in for your intervention. That how ready is Pakistan for cryptos?
Can I just make sure you're asking for me, yeah?
Yeah.
Ayad.
Yad,
Okay.
I'm asking
Assalamu
you.
alaikum, everyone. It's a pleasure being here. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to travel to Islamabad, so I excuse myself. But I'll jump right in, and I'll continue from the message that's already been delivered so far by other colleagues and seniors. How ready is Pakistan? I think Pakistan is ready, and there's no sort of standard to decide when you're ready. The only way to get ready is by doing the work and preparation and research. And this panel and the actions of the last few months with PVARA and how involved the Pakistani authorities have been in setting up regulatory regimes is a very clear indication that there is intent and motivation behind getting ready, right? So nothing comes easy, and you need to work towards setting up an ecosystem. Now, what I'm very conscious of the two key risks which Zafar Saab mentioned as well, which is capital controls and capital flight and money laundering, right? I am responsible for, and I'm on one of the partners of Zodia Markets, and we run a regulated OTC crypto brokerage in Abu Dhabi, which is licensed by Abu Dhabi Global Markets. And I've been thinking about Pakistan a lot, and the starting point has to be how to encourage inbound crypto flow, right? Inbound crypto flow is remittances through stablecoins, right? And the second avenue is any, let's say, PVARA licensed crypto exchange or brokerage, which inshallah will come to fruition and be live in the next few months, their activity has to be ring-fenced. And I say this very seriously. As an example, there's a bank in Abu Dhabi which runs a similar structure, and I've been working with them. What they do is any citizen of UAE, they've got dirhams sitting in that bank account. They can use those dirhams to buy crypto, right? That crypto stays within that bank's ecosystem. And if they want to cash out off-ramp, convert the crypto back to PKR, they can do it within the same bank and the same
camera,
exchange.
maybe it works well if you can close camera and can speak on mic.
Okay.
We are having some internet connection problem here, but if you can go now on mic.
Okay,
Continue.
I'll try again. I've closed my camera. So
yes,
ring fencing of activity is extremely important. Otherwise, what is a disaster scenario, Khuda na Khasta, is that people convert their PKR to crypto and all crypto exits Pakistan, and then we'll all have a big problem with our reserves, right? So ring fencing of environment, and how do you control it? PVARA, State Bank, will have oversight of all stablecoin flows coming in and all off ramps coming out, right? So as an example, for my ADGM regulated entity, every single fiat currency that comes into my company from my clients or any crypto is monitored real time. So they have oversight. I get phone calls out of the blue from Central Bank of UAE asking me about specific transactions. And the only way to do this is through a regulated regime, which is PVARA. Another point I want to make is the use cases are critical here, right? The inspiration. And why talk about remittances? We obviously rely on remittances for our inbound dollar supply. The cost that are currently being paid to remittance companies, which are fiat-based, are exorbitant. State Bank subsidizes some of these remittances as well, if not all, right? Through stable coins, the cost of this flow goes down. Central Bank would no longer have to subsidize it. And there's more money in the pockets of Pakistani families, which then obviously helps our economy as well, because they'll then be able to spend more, right? And to give you a sense of the cost, let's say if I send $500 using a bank to Pakistan, my charges are at least $20, $30, and then there's an FX conversion on top of it, right? With stable coins, that charge goes into cents. And that is money away from corporates who are milking the fiat remittance system, and it takes money into the pockets of our citizens, right? Lastly, and I will stop after this, is a concern of mine as a viewer, and I've interacted with different people in Pakistan, different stakeholders. All of you would have to get on the same page. There's a risk here that there are too many people involved as well. So there's State Bank, there's SECP, there's PVARA. How well we do this will be dependent upon how well all three of you communicate and work together as a team, right? So that'll be my leaving message, that there's a huge opportunity. Milke kaam kare, achhi tarah kare. It will happen amazingly well, because we've got a huge retail population, young population, tech-savvy population, and we owe it to our people to give them the opportunity to take advantage of this technology. Key is to repeat what Zafar Saab mentioned. We cannot risk our sovereignty. And how to do it properly is by ring fencing these exchanges, and it'll be onto the regulators' responsibility to do it properly. And if there's any questions, I'd love to hear them, but I want to respect time, and I will stop here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ayad. Thank you so much. And have a good Juma prayer, and do pray for
Yes, thank
us
you.
as well. And but when you are back in Islamabad, we will definitely love to catch up with you for more
Inshallah,
discussion
it'll be an honor.
in person. So this is just beginning of the discussions. We will continue to bring it in. So this brings me back again to Nofal Daud Saab, Chief Digital Officer, Bank of Punjab. Sir, if you can come in.
जी डॉक्टर साहब शुक्रिया बहुत. So we have heard digital currency has arrived. The policy and the large macro issues have been discussed, and we all agree that they will continue to be discussed. I want to bring the practitioner's point of view on the table, because that is where BOP and us have been following a strategy-led digitalization program for the last many years. And so the question that I ask is, what if crypto is allowed today? What would change? The real problems that we face, would a solution be found for them? The use cases that we need, which are most important, would still be not solved. And that's where BOP has been working for the last 2-3 years, especially in 4-5 years in a longer period, to build those use cases in the market. We are not waiting for things to arrive. We are just going ahead and building those use cases. So we have opened about 8 million branchless wallets in the last few years, 1 million mobile app users, 1 million credit cards, 200 billion plus digital lending portfolio, 60,000 plus merchants now closing into 100,000, and hundreds of billions of digital transactions that we're processing. With the targeted segments that we want to work in, being agri, SME, and low-cost housing. Because we have decided that that's a segment we'll operate in, but we've also decided that we will take on large use cases and digital only. And doesn't matter whether these huge swaths of potential customers or actual customers are new to bank or new to credit. So that's the tire rubber meeting the road kind of situation that we find it, and that's the point of view now I want to bring it to the discussion. So what happens once crypto arrives? That's where we believe that digital currency in essence in Pakistan is already there. Banks need to move into this space, employ the available technology stack, the available talent in terms of the fintechs, in terms of the startups, in terms of the government agencies, really valuable government agencies that are already present, and to build that digital ecosystem to start connecting the dots so that whenever the crypto a miracle happens or the plug is pulled on, those use cases are there to absorb those additional payment items. Just to let you know very quickly that the problems that we've solved in order to come from there to here have been, we've completely digitalized onboarding, income proxy and credit approval processes, the issuing and the disbursement processes, the acquiring and spend, and even collections. We are working on now digitizing collections, which is the most physical of them all. And how have we done it? Because we start with the vision that we are a public sector bank with an appetite of a public sector bank, with the innovation and the agility of a private sector bank. So that's the start. But then we are very open about the partners that we build on. By the way, we've done a lot of investments also. Faisal sitting here in our tech stack, in our digital stack, in people, in risk sharing. So real money needs to be spent. That's the other part, which people don't talk about. There's got to be a real commitment in terms of spend. And then the partnerships. We're lucky, we're talking about PITB this morning, PLRA, fintechs, bureaus, startups, State Bank. These are all valuable partners which have enabled us to do that. Quickly moving forward, so what's next for us? What are we working on? Because we're not waiting for that plug to be pulled in. So now with State Bank's help, we're going towards open banking. We're going to test in the regulatory sandbox, hopefully, if the permission is given, for cross-border stablecoin payment settlements, remittance use cases. We are the first bank which has signed an agreement with Nadra to use Nadra Park ID as an SSO, and we were very excited we're very excited to build Nadra's role as a digital ID vault under the deep process. Zafar Saab has also mentioned about the cashless Pakistan initiative. We're very closely involved with that. We're also working with PBA on the FTX, the financial data exchange layer coming. So in a nutshell, the discussion remains incomplete without the practitioners, Dr. Saab point of view. And that's where I think this forum becomes very important in projecting some of the things which have been done, like banks like us. Some other banks are also doing some good stuff, but that really has to catch on and get a momentum. So I'll stop there.
Thank you. Thank you. Excellent. I think a big round of applause. Let me go. We are joined by two very distinguished professors and the practitioners working on around these areas. So I'll be taking 2 comments online, 3 questions from here, and then the closing all in 15 minutes. So let me give it a try. Dr. Yanan Wu, are you with us? Dr.
Yes,
Wu, can you
yes,
hear
I
us?
am.
Excellent.
Yeah, Dr.
Thank
Sajid.
you so
Sorry, Dr.
much
Sajid.
for your patience
Yeah.
and waiting all. But I just wanted purposefully to listen to you first, all the perspectives from Pakistan, and then you can bring in your perspective, the kind of global experience that you have. And particularly if you can touch upon what are the lessons for Pakistan, and if you can focus more on consumer protection that we haven't touched so far. This is one risk that is coming, that how to protect consumer. So what are your top 3 key lessons from global experiences that Pakistan can learn? Over to you.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Sajid. You have done a great job to manage 9 panelists so far in the panel. And thank you, Ms. Zafar, give such a comprehensive overview and with your team. So as you just mentioned, Surfin, I'm the CEO of Surfin, headquartered in Singapore. And for the last 7 years, we have provided financial inclusion for 19 million users, young demographics in 12 emerging markets. So that's because of the AI technology and also the various fintech innovations we have done in different markets. So I think I echo what Ms. Safar just mentioned. For financial inclusion, it's everyone's top agenda and also cashless society. I have been visiting Pakistan for since last November 4 times already. So I learned that our Pakistan under this current government is promoting cashless society and cashless economy, because I feel that as the Gen AI and AI technology, once it's to help our emerging markets have a leapfrog opportunity, really through financial innovation. And as Mr. Zafar just mentioned, in the 245 million population of Pakistan, over 100 million still probably unbanked or underbanked, and half of the population are under age 23. So I think this is a great potential for cashless society, cashless economy through fintech innovation. Because among the 12 markets, whether Southeast Asia, South Asia, Mid Central Asia, and Latin Africa, we have seen that every country embrace cashless society. So financial inclusion is indeed possible. And the second, I think, top agenda is besides credit access. Credit access is the first pain point. The second pain point is money transfer. As our panelists just discussed, that like Ayers just mentioned, many of our young consumers are migrants. How to protect their interests of the migrants. And one is, you mentioned about consumer protection. One is, I think, the frictional cost. So remittance in the past has been providing, charged by 7 to 8% remittance cost. And many of our Pakistani young migrants are working overseas. So I think this brings another topic from financial inclusion to remittance inclusion through technology. And I believe stablecoin can help contribute to that. And that's why in the Philippines, another migrant country, that we work with Philippine Social Security system to provide remittance loans to migrants in Philippines, and also provide this stablecoin technology as well. So in Pakistan, as I congratulate STPI provide 28th Congress for this sustainable development. I believe this is the time, and I echo what Mr. Zafar just said. It's not about technology readiness; it's about institution readiness. And I think Genius Act has promote a framework that stablecoin is not a commodity, it's not a security. It's actually regulated by OCC in US. It's not regulated by SEC or CFTS. So I believe in Pakistan we can have a joint supervision by our State Bank of Pakistan, and also by the PVARA, so that we have a more regulated, centralized supervision. And for issuer stablecoin to help promote this remittance inclusion, I think the first step is through bank-led issuers, because I think this still the first primary objective for this remittance is to reduce the cost, rather than introducing counterparty risk. I think in other countries, counterparty risk still an essential issue. We'll talk about the volatility of stablecoin. We'll talk about many volatility of crypto, and we'll talk about many stablecoin had lost so much value. So I think for consumer protection, you just mentioned, it's all about supervision and centralized regulation at this stage. So that's why I propose, if we want to learn the experience successively from other countries in Pakistan, it has to be still centralized, supervised, and also issued by a bank issuer. And then with the ecosystem, with the trust, discriminatory trust, and distributed on more transparent public chain or other sophisticated regulated chain, and by EMIs and banks. So I think consumer protection is paramount when we talk about financial inclusion and remittance inclusion. So I think we can do in stages. One is the first stage, reduce the cost from 6 to
If you can
7%.
finish in 1 minute.
Yeah, thank you. So I
Ideally
think
30
to
seconds.
summarize, thank you. To summarize, I think number one, reduce the cost, and also reduce the risk, and this all so that we can be frictionless. Because if migrants of Pakistan can contribute so much to the GDP economy, and we can reduce the cost to half, and imagine how that contributes to GDP already. So I think that's primary objective. Secondly, we can introduce more remote, controlled trust, so that we can have a more transparent supervision framework. So I think the counterparty risk is very essential. So that's why I propose in the first stage, bank issued stable coins along with the other institutions can solve the transparency and solve the counterparty risk. Third, the last objective, remittance loan. I hope credit access plus remittance inclusion combined together can help to provide our young migrants who work overseas directly lending to their home country in Pakistan for their family, for their kids, so that we can combine the power of credit access plus remittance through stablecoin itself. So that will help our consumers, young consumers from overseas, to have a better frictionless cost and lower cost of remittance, and also easy credit access. Let me stop there. And I believe
Thank you.
Pakistan, we can deliver that through our joint efforts led by SDPI. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And let us know when you are next time in Pakistan. Will be pleasure to meet you in Islamabad.
Yeah,
Thank
next
you.
week. Thank you.
This next week, this is so close. Let's have a beat up. Good. So we now move to our last speaker in the first round, James Humes, Chief Executive Officer of Begini. Can you hear me? Okay, so let this time give to the audience, and we can have now your questions, and then we will club with the questions from the last comments from our panelists. So please be very brief, direct to the question. Mehtab, if you can please go ahead. And good if you identify speaker as well. Okay.
All panels. Can someone elaborate how much Pakistanis have so far invested in crypto? What is the exact size and volume we are talking about? Thank you.
Thank you, Mehtab. Very crisp but big question. Any other more questions on for the panel? Our panel was so excellent that people don't have questions. So please.
Assalamu alaikum. My question is from Mr. Faisal Mazhar. Which there, as we know, crypto is an uncertain and decentralized currency. What's the policy of SBP?
You. So we have one more question from here and two more questions. Very crisp. No, we are recording, so you have to have mic.
Assalamu alaikum ji, this is Zubaida Basi. Yesterday, sir, you were rightly mentioning about the prospects of climate change and how exactly we can do what we can do to mitigate it, and what was the role of Bank of Punjab, how you have done so much since the Qaid-e-Azam solar panel scheme. Sir, I was wondering that all of you are talking about digital currencies and crypto and everything. Have we actually gave a thought about the toll of databases and the toll of digital currencies on the climate? Because we have to, on cloud-based data, we have to basically maintain a lot of, we have to need a lot of source energy and to cool down the clouds. And I hope you got the point. Zubaida Abbasi, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. So we have questions from here. Very crispy, please. Beat our speakers. They were so spot on time.
My name is Tahir Mahmood. I am Chairman Computer Society of Pakistan and running a software house and call center. मेरा बड़ा सिंपल सवाल है 38 बिलियन पे हमारे रेमिटेंसेस हैं इस वक्त, खास तौर पे फैसल साहब आपसे और जफर साहब आपसे. इसको 50 बिलियन पे ले जाने के लिए हमें क्या एफर्ट कर लेनी चाहिए कि हम $1 बिलियन के लिए IMF के ऊपर मिन्नतें करते रहते हैं और पूरा मुल्क हम तलपट कर देते हैं, उलट देते हैं, और ये 12 बिलियन हम अगर वहां से ले लें उनसे, तो क्या मुश्किलात हैं जिनको टेकअप किया जाए तो हम ये ले सकते हैं. सबसे आसान तरीका मेरे नजदीक ये है. ताहिर महमूद.
Thank you. Jabbar Saab, if you can come in. Crisp question.
मेरा ख्याल है कि सबसे पहले तो मैं आपको एक छोटी सी कोटेशन दूंगा. ex-DG FIA Sanaullah Abbasi. He said in the given environment, level of awareness, the more digitalization is causing more digital crimes. And the FIA now turned into cybercrime, being turned into another criming, where 7 officers are already held in detention on account of, I don't want to go into those details. Now, my question is very relevant that in the given situation, where the regulators in Pakistan have not come up to the expectations of people, name any regulator. I will start from the NEPRA to even there are reports about money market by Justice late Salim Akhtar, by Ishrat Hussain Rizvi, and how it is behaving with only 200,000 people working. And there is a widespread allegation that it is more manipulated and more dominant by the 10 brokers and also influenced by the marketing and the influence of the government, wherein mutual funds and others are being sold. So this is my thinking. How, I must say with abundant caution, now I would like to say that how the consumer economics, how the interests of consumers will be safeguarded. I think we need to have extra backups for that.
So can we give Mike their last question, and then our speakers will be responding, but with the request to speakers that pick one question only at one time, or so not necessary that every speaker responds every question. So please pick your questions.
My question is to Zafar Masood Saab. Sir, why are these central banks and big investors, they are investing in gold? What is the reason for gold rush? Is it the scarce of digital currencies, cryptocurrencies? Can you elaborate?
Mehtab Saab, last please, quick comment.
Sir, sorry. Sir, In the IMF's technical report, they have recommended to grant permission and bring crypto into the tax net. But there is also a fear how we are going to deal with the FATF because there is the risk of money laundering and terrorist financing. Thank you.
Thank you. So if now I can go back to my panel here around, we have 6 questions, 6 minutes and 5 speakers. So if we can start from the last side, my extreme left, would you like to pick any question or any last comment? 1 minute.
All right, so I will just talk about the first question. So from an estimation, it is about 20 to 30 billion in the crypto investment, and the overall trade volume is around 300 million, which is growing, and this is informal.
$300 million.
300 billion.
Billion dollars are,
Yeah.
okay. That's big.
In the trade volume. And mic is on. Maria was.
Ji.
So there is about 30 billion in the asset owned and about 300 billion of trade volume.
Thank you. Faisal Saab, if you can pick any questions related to central bank and come in.
It's a wild guess, Mehtab bhai. ये ना कोट कीजिएगा कि BOP ने कहा, BOP ने नहीं कहा.
So
ये
Faisal Saab, over
बहुत
to you.
wild guess है जो हवा में बातें फिर रही हैं. Nobody knows the exact.
सर हम आते हैं आपके पास. Faisal Saab, start
So
with you.
there was this question pertaining to crypto and State Bank's stance. So
Yes.
I would say that currently there are basically relevant stakeholders who are working on this. And State Bank basically follows the, I would say, innovation, responsible innovation. And for this very reason, we have this regulatory sandbox whereby we are like working with fintechs, non-banks, commercial banks on different, like I would say, variety of ideas. So they need to know what is the proposal, what are the probable risks, what are the probable mitigants that they can propose, and what is the clear exit strategy. And I think same is there in Vara as well, whereby it is proposed that they are going to be having a sandbox based upon which they are going to be basically graduating the successful candidates. Just last point, I think Mr. Ayad Bhatt Saab highlighted one very important point that each time a transaction lands in his system, there is a real-time upgrade to them so that they know they can always monitor. So I think in terms of that readiness, in terms of that, I would say competence of those entities whereby they can basically monitor such transactions. This is very important because these decentralized systems are in the phase of evolution. So we need to know how those ledgers forensics are performed, whether we have the people who can basically troubleshoot that smart contracts. So this is everything that we are exploring at our end as well. Why? Because we are also working on some decentralized or Web3 based solutions like eShared, KYC, and the CBDC. Thank you.
Thank you. Zahid Saab, if you can come in. Pick any question and last comments.
Yeah, so I'll touch upon 3 of them briefly. So first up
Very
is,
briefly.
very briefly, about cloud and data cooling costs. So there's just this myth, right, that cloud is expensive or anything. So when we have data, we have got the servers. So when BOP is running, they have their servers, right? When crypto is running, they have their own servers. So when the servers are publicly accessible, we call it the cloud, right? But it makes them the same thing, right? It's servers running compute and they cost the same thing. So it's not like that cloud would increase cost or anything. We already have the servers. And the second point about crypto mining. So we have to dealing these two. We are not mining here, right? We are not making something like Bitcoin. We have things like proof of stake, which run on normal computers and don't need that much compute. So these things are overstated, overblown. Then we have got digital crime and regulations, right? And also consumer protection. So I'll touch upon these with what we are talking about here, the upcoming crypto regulation and everything. So there are now tools available for AIML that actually monitor the transactions and flag suspicious transactions. So that monitoring can be done much more efficiently now if those systems are implemented. And that's what the policy should be around that, how the systems should be implemented and what sort of systems we need. And then about consumer protection. So and in order to protect the consumer, we need to have laws around how digital identity is handled, right? So currently we are lacking laws like privacy by design. We don't have those. We need to implement those. And then additionally, we need to have policies around how the wallets handle the identity itself, right? So like I talked about NIST, it has got different standards, 1, 2, and 3. So we need to at least have IAL1, IAL2, and AAL2 for consumers, IAL3 and AAL3 for banks and regulated authorities. So that would ensure that they are protected going forward. So
Thank you.
that could be a part of the policy that we are discussing here.
Thank you. Nawal Saab, if you can comment.
I'm sure remittance वाला जफर साहब का sorry environment वाला आपका मैं कहेंगे
जी
अच्छा वो कर तो बस सर ये consumer protection के बारे में आपने फरमाया सर I'll name State Bank of Pakistan
Mike, please.
as one of the most effective regulators in the industry, and we are witness and at times victims of it. So we can say it very much confidence that Pakistan में कोई आज तक बैंक रन के तहत किसी डिपॉजिटर का लॉस नहीं हुआ. नई आने वाली जो टेक्नोलॉजी के तहत प्रोडक्ट्स में जो भी इश्यूज आते हैं स्टेट बैंक इज वेरी हैंड्स ऑन और इंशाल्लाह इस जिस तरीके से फैसल साहब ने फरमाया है कि एक स्टेप बाय स्टेप प्रोसेस के थ्रू वो जा रहे हैं एंड दैट्स व्हाई they're not hiring things up. So I'm very confidently put, at least from my professional standpoint, State Bank has been a very, very effective regulator. Thank you.
Zafar Saab, quick last comments. I think he has left.
Okay. Okay, so very quickly, the questions which have not been responded. First is from Mehtab Bhai on, IMF report, FATF and crypto and the text net. The idea is actually the whole regulatory environment that we're talking about is to bring crypto into a formal system. So text by default. And of course, the interesting thing is, and somebody mentioned it, I think Ziad mentioned it, that, because of the blockchain technology or somebody else earlier, it has better possibility of detecting against this thing. Whether we do it or not, that's besides the point. But when you have a regulatory environment, the detection becomes easier. The second one is from Tahir Mahmood Saab. Tahir Saab, actually, this is not an either or situation, IMF or remittance. We have to do both because IMF per se is giving 1.5, but it's opening the channels for much larger a number. So we can't really politically slogan use karna wo alada baat hai, but fact of the matter is that these are not either or situation. To now attract more remittances, there are multiple actions that the government has taken. We are also already working with the government on it. I think by incentivizing people to go through digital channels is one of those incentives. There are the idea is to bear the cost of remittance, and I think the stable coin remittance piece that we're talking about will bring in substantial cost down. And once that regulatory environment is in place, I think that you will see a number jumping, to a very large number. अब पिछले दिनों में अखबारों में बहुत ज़्यादा इसमें हमारे खिलाफ छपा बैंकों में कि जी वो पता नहीं इतनी सब्सिडी हमने ले ली फलाना कर ली. वो हमारी सब्सिडी नहीं है, वो सब्सिडी जाती है to the remitter क्योंकि उसको वहाँ पर remittance की cost होती है. So when we talk about Dr. Saab, this stable coin coming through, yes, then that remittance cost will go down substantially. आखिरी जो आपने फरमाया था about central banks और ये क्यों gold में invest कर रहे हैं, frankly speaking, मेरे पास का कोई plausible जवाब नहीं है. आजकल दुनिया इतने myriad और strange ways में operate कर रही है. मुझे सिर्फ ये लगता है कि जो एक अनसर्टेनिटी बिकॉज ऑफ द टैरिफ सिचुएशन एंड ऑल आई है, जिसकी वजह से ये नहीं पता कि करेंसीज किस डायरेक्शन में जाएंगी. और आपने देखा कि क्रिप्टो में क्या हुआ है. मेरे ख्याल से वो गालिबन एक रीजन हो सकता है कि जो इन्वेस्टर्स हैं दे फीलिंग सेफर इन टर्म्स ऑफ गोइंग इनटू द कमोडिटीज देन अदरवाइज. मैं सिर्फ एक लास्ट चीज क्लैरिफाई कर दूं एंड देन विल रैप इट अप. मैंने ऑलरेडी बहुत ज्यादा टाइम ले लिया है देन व्हाट वाज एलोकेटेड टू मी बाय डॉक्टर साहब. वो ये कि देखिए आपको ना क्रिप्टो इज अ लार्जर nomenclature. It has various aspects under it. So stable coin is very much part of the crypto, but it is a secure portion of the crypto. The others are perhaps more speculative, as I said in my presentation as well, and from an investment perspective also. Every offering has a different use case and a different this thing. The regulatory environment at the end of the day, I think the most important बात जो की है वो डॉक्टर वू ने की थी वो ये कि there need to have a centralized regulatory environment. मैं सिर्फ आपको एक क्लैरिफाई कर दूं कि हम बहुत स्टेट एक तो मैं जवाहर साहब आपसे टोटली डिसएग्री करता हूं. हमारे रेगुलेटर में अगर कोई रेगुलेटर है तो वो सिर्फ स्टेट बैंक ऑफ पाकिस्तान है. मैं इसलिए नहीं कह रहा कि मुझे रेगुलेट करता है, वो वाकई दुनिया के बेहतरीन रेगुलेटर में से एक है। मैं आपकी बात मान लूंगा ओगरा के बारे में, आपकी बात मान लूंगा नेपरा के बारे में। मेरे बड़े स्ट्रॉन्ग